Washington's clear-thinking headquarters. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
7:37 on WMAL. Brian Eman, Joe DeGeneva in this morning. ABC's Jim Schuitto joins us now from Islamabad. Jim, we know the Pakistani military and the government haven't been too happy with what happened last weekend, but I'm curious, what's been the reaction from the Pakistani people about the U.S. flying into the country and killing Osama bin Laden?
Well, the Pakistani people don't like, by and large, they don't like Osama bin Laden, so not sorry to see him go, although you do find a minority of people who express respect for him even today. But they are upset, very proud of their military, and very sensitive to U.S. military action here, which they see as an insult, as a violation of their sovereignty. And the Pakistani people, like their leaders, feel that this was a violation. You had the Foreign Secretary of Pakistan saying yesterday that it may have been illegal under international law. This is quite a charge to make between allies.
Well, I think, Jim, what is happening in the street there? Are there any sort of like large-scale demonstrations, days of rage, etc.?
There aren't. There have been scattered demonstrations. There was talk of some today. Today's Friday prayers, the holy day in Islam, and we heard of one very small demonstration in Abbottabad, not far from the compound. There was one at the beginning of the week, but really these are tiny events. People aren't really paying attention to them. They're moving on to the next thing.
That's
so you don't see public anger in the streets, but people will. When I've met with Pakistani officials, you can feel the anger bubbling just below the surface, or often not below the surface. They feel that this was a violation. Are
they mad at themselves a little bit for not having found him since he was in their country?
No question. And I've spoken with senior officials in the ISI, that's Pakistan's CIA, who say, yes, this was a failure, but they will quickly move on to say, and it's interesting, I mean, they basically throw it right back at the U.S. They'll say, well, it was a failure for the CIA, too, because it took you 10 years to find him, even with all your technology. I mean, it gets almost adolescent, right? I mean, it shows you their sense of violation here.
Yeah.
That said, I have been speaking to Pakistani officials who are much more open, and they're starting to come out in public with self-criticism, saying, wait a second, we messed up here. This is a major failure, and we have to do better. And they have launched an investigation.
There's obviously a great debate in this country about whether or not the photos of bin Laden should be released. Are they having that debate in Pakistan? Do people want to see the photos?
They do, and it's amazing. Here, I'm in Islamabad, the capital. This is a relatively wealthy town, certainly very educated. We went to the market a couple of days ago, asked people if they believed bin Laden was dead, people who speak English, people who travel internationally, and they said they still have their doubts. And it shows you how low the trust is in America in a country like this. They'll even say to me, well, the CIA can make up photos, even if they release the photos. Right. So, I mean, you have some people who would never be convinced, but they are asking that question. They're saying, wait, if we can see the dead bodies of the other people who were killed in the compound, why can't we see the dead body of Osama bin Laden?
How many people were left in the compound? Do we know that for sure? And where are they now, and what are they telling officials?
Well, we were able to learn and report last night that 3 of bin Laden's wives were picked up in the compound. Earlier in the week we heard about 1, but we now know that it's 3 wives and 7 to 8 children, at least one of them bin Laden's child, a 13-year-old girl who has told authorities that she witnessed him being killed. They're particularly interested in the wives, and they are interrogating them now, the Pakistani authorities, because they were close to him and would know his movements, perhaps who he met with, his habits, that kind of thing. They're particularly interested in the youngest one, the 29-year-old Yemeni, and she's the one who told them, we reported this yesterday, that he never left the compound for 5 years, in fact confined himself to just 2 rooms in the compound for most of that time.
I would imagine that the CIA would like to talk to her as well. Has there been any contact between the ISI and the CIA about talking to that 20-year-old?
There has been. The CIA is desperate to talk to the wives, and as a measure of the sad state of U.S.-Pakistani relations, the Pakistanis so far have said, no, thank you.
Do you have any idea as to why? I mean, the reporting that the people you've been talking to, why they left these people there? Why they didn't take them with? Why the SEALs didn't take them with them as they left the compound?
I think the SEALs had a very focused mission: capture or kill Osama bin Laden. They did that. Their focus was on getting his body out of there. It was a hectic 40 minutes. There was gunfire. They lost one of their helicopters. The idea of bringing women and children, dumping them onto a helicopter when you've already lost one with the 40 some odd SEALs who were involved. It just seems like it was too tall an order.
Right, and we're hearing this morning that the CIA had a safe house in that neighborhood. Do you have any information on that?
New York Times, Washington Post reporting about this, and it's fascinating detail because it tells you exactly how elaborate an operation this was. A safe house full of spies, a network of informants in the area using high-tech technology to monitor the place, telephoto lenses behind mirrored glass, radar to look for escape tunnels. And interestingly, they were hiding not just from Al-Qaeda and bin Laden, the compound, but also from the Pakistani authorities.
That is amazing. And we're also hearing this morning that there's been some action in Waziristan, apparently some drones and dropping some missiles on that. Is it too early to know that the reason for that bombing raid is because of what was learned from what we got out of the compound where bin Laden was hiding?
I think it's too early to know, but I think it's just as likely that this is just business as usual. There's been a big increase in drone strikes. They continue, and then just a sign that, yes, they've gotten bin Laden, but they have a lot more work to do, and they're going to keep up the pressure on the militants they know to be hiding in those tribal areas.
Great reporting, Jim, by the way. Congratulations.
Thanks for joining us, too. We appreciate it.